let's get started with Lesson 3 of the Mr. Circuit 30-in-1 lab. Find that page. There are 2 pages actually. Lesson 3 has 2 pages. It's on the resistor color code. Resistors, resistance, and ohms. And to the right of that, you see the little omega sign. That is what we use for ohms. All right, let's read it all and fill out the pencil exercises. Resistors are one of the most popular and fundamental electronic components. You will always find them in electronic circuits. Resistance is the opposition to current flow. We often need resistance to control current flow, and in order to get it, we use components known as resistors. Each resistor contains a certain amount of resistance. Resistance is measured in ohms. For example, a resistor of 10,000 ohms would provide much more opposition to current than a resistor of only 1,000 ohms. Pencil exercise. Number 1. Resistance is the opposition to current flow. You can go ahead and fill in that on your page there. Resistance is the opposition to current flow. Number 2. Each resistor contains a certain amount of resistance. Number 3. Resistance is measured in ohms. OHMS. Number 4. A resistor of 20,000 ohms will provide more opposition to the current flow than a resistor of 5,000 ohms. Resistor color code. The resistor color code is a method of indicating the resistance value in ohms and the tolerance range. It is not a secret code designed by sinister cryptographers to confuse and frustrate us. On the contrary, it was made as easy as possible to facilitate its wide usage. Anyone can learn it in just a few minutes, including you. Why the color code? With the color code, we use colored bands in order to overcome 2 basic problems. 1, it would be very difficult to print and see large numbers on a small resistor. 2, even if we could see the number, placement of the resistor in the project might entirely obscure it. You might have the resistor twisted in such a way that you can't read those numbers. The color-coded bands that go entirely around the resistor seem to solve these 2 problems. When reading the color code, the resistor should be held with the gold or silver band on the right, as shown in the picture on the upper right hand of this page. Notice this resistor has 4 color bands. The one on the left is the first band, and it represents a digit. Number 2 band, right to the right of that, represents another digit. And band number 3 tells you the number of zeros. Band number 4 tells you the tolerance. All of the resistors in this lab are designed like this, and they're all 5% resistors. This is the resistor color code. So you see here in the box all the colors and all the numbers that they represent. Each color stands for a particular number. For example, red stands for 2. When reading the color code, remember, the first band on the left is always a number. The second band to the right of that one represents another number. The third band represents the number of zeros to be added to those numbers. If the third band is black, no zeros are added. The fourth band represents the tolerance value. This band is usually gold, plus or minus 5%, or silver, plus or minus 10%. In our lab, we use all the ones that are gold that are plus or minus 5%. Tolerance means precision or exactness of the value of the resistor. All right, let's go to page number 2 of lesson number 3. Example, what is the value in ohms and the tolerance of the following resistor? Well, you see in the diagram here that we have a resistor represented with 4 color bands. The color band on the left we tell you is brown, the next one is green, the next one is red, and the next one is silver. So how do we interpret this and tell the value of the resistor? Well, brown stands for a 1, and that's a digit, so it's a 1. Green stands for 5, so you got 1, 5. Followed by how many zeros? Well, the third band is red, so that means 2 zeros. So 1500, in other words, 1500 ohms. Now, since the fourth color band we tell you is silver, the tolerance of this resistor is plus or minus 10%. Well, let's think about that. 10% of 1500 is 150. Remember, the tolerance is plus or minus. So therefore, the nominal value of this resistor, in other words, the value that it's labeled as with the colors, is 1500. But it really could be 1650 all the way down to 1350, where you add 150 ohms, which is 10% to 1500, you get 1650. You subtract 150 ohms, and you get 1350. So when you actually measure the value of a nominal marked resistor of 1500 ohms, if it's got a silver band, it could measure as high as 1650 and as low as 1350 and still be a good resistor. All right, below this, we have a pencil exercise. Give the value in ohms and the tolerance of these three resistors. All right, the first resistor on the band on the left is red, followed by blue, followed by yellow, followed by gold. Red stands for 2, so that's the number 2. Blue stands for 6, so that's a 6. So far we have 2, 6. How many zeros? Well, it's yellow, so there are 4 zeros. So 2, 6 followed by 4 zeros is 260,000 ohms. And since it's gold, it's a plus or minus 5% resistor. The next resistor, blue, green, red, gold. Blue is 6, green is 5, so we have 6, 5, and red means 2 more zeros. So you have 6500, so 6500 ohms, followed by gold, so it's a plus or minus 5%. The third resistor, brown, black, red, silver. Brown is a 1, black is a 0, so we got 10. So far, 1 and a 0. And the red, being the third band, means you add 2 more zeros, so this is a 1000 ohm resistor, 1000. And then it's silver on its tolerance band, so it's plus or minus 10%. Now, just a little note, abbreviating numbers. Usually the values of resistors are abbreviated by using the letter K, actually a small letter K. We show a large one here, but they usually use a small letter K to represent 1000, and the letter M to represent 1,000,000. For example, 1K resistor is a 1000 ohm resistor, and a 3.3K resistor is a 3300 ohm resistor, and a 2M resistor is a 2,000,000 ohm resistor. So that's just a little note about abbreviating. Okay, we've covered this lesson, and now we're ready to go to lesson number 4 about the solderless circuit board.